So I've been back on Mull once again for a week, coming towards the end of the summertime, and today is the last full day. We're leaving tomorrow morning, getting the ferry back tomorrow morning, and the 7-hour drive all the way back down to the east of England. So I thought I would do a recap while I'm still here of where I've been, what I've been able to see, and any sort of thoughts and feelings I've had throughout my time here on Mull. So let's begin the video. So before I start with any footage taken on Mull, I'm going to go back to the day before we left to go to Mull, where I'm organising my equipment and my clothing for anyone that's interested in what I have in my bag and what I wear. So we're heading off back up to the Isle of Mull tomorrow, so I thought I would go through all of my equipment and all the clothes that I'm going to take for our week's stay. I thought this would be a good opportunity to show the camera equipment that I often take in my camera bag, whether it's just for a day trip or going away for a longer period of time. I'll leave a list down below in the description of all of my equipment that I have in my camera bag, as well as the bag itself. I've had this bag for quite a few years now, and it stores everything I need it to, and it's also pretty comfortable as well. So I'll leave everything down in the description. I thought I'd also show the type of clothing that I either wear or often take when I'm doing wildlife photography. A lot of the stuff I've actually got secondhand or as gifts, but a lot of it is secondhand. It's amazing what you can find in a charity shop or through a secondhand virtual store. So a lot of it's in really good condition as well, so you don't have to fork out, you know, an X amount of money for something that you can buy pre-loved but still in really good condition. So after the 7-hour drive up in the rain and the short ferry crossing over from Oban, we arrived on the Isle of Mull last week, and I actually started developing a cold on the way up, which got a bit worse as we arrived, and the first couple of days I just wasn't feeling 100%, which is less than ideal. But when we actually turned up at the accommodation we're staying in, a family of red deer walked right past our window, which was really nice to see. I hadn't seen them close up like that ever when coming to Mull, so to see them right outside the window was just amazing, and I managed to get some footage of them as they walked by and went into the forest and the fernland a bit below us. So on the first full day, the rain stayed pretty consistent, so my husband and I decided to venture through the local woodland along the coastal path which we're staying near, and just to enjoy, you know, being within nature, listening to rain fall through the tree canopy, and just to have a good walk around. And it was one way of me sort of being distracted from being unwell. And while we were walking through the forests, I actually spotted a family of Goldcrests. There was some fledglings that not long left the nest and one adult which was busy feeding them. So it was nice to watch those undercover and to get a few pictures of them as well, despite the low amount of light coming through the trees. Across 2 days of our trip, we went out on the boat to go hopefully find some different species of marine life while we were out there. And both times the ocean was actually pretty calm. There was hardly any wind, which you don't normally get that on every boat trip going out to sea. So we headed out, and it wasn't long after we passed towards the most westerly point of Scotland that we came across our first ever basking shark, which was amazing. The big dorsal fin coming through the water with the tail swishing behind it, so it was feeding, and I was just completely ecstatic. 2 of them actually turned up and they were swimming around the boats we were on. I managed to get a few shaky videos of them as they were circling around and feeding. And in terms of pictures, it was purely just to capture the fins breaking through the water. But yeah, I just didn't expect that at all. I was absolutely ecstatic to see not just 1 but 2 of my first ever basking sharks. So yeah, I was absolutely amazed. And then heading further out, again the seas were calm and the sun came out, so it wasn't too cold. And we actually ended up coming across a large pod of common dolphins, and they travelled alongside the boat for, it must have been 20 minutes. And seeing them leap out of the blue waters was just, you don't get over it. Anytime you see dolphins in the ocean, it's just a wonderful sight. Travelling further out, we obviously saw an awful lot of different seabirds, including Manx shearwaters, storm petrels, gannets, shags. There was also a few puffins around, which was really nice to see on the water. So yeah, loads of bird life out at the ocean, and they were searching for the different feeding grounds where they could potentially be minke whales feeding, which we did end up seeing. They were very distant, but we did end up seeing the minke whales, which again, another species that I enjoy seeing. So as the week progressed, I eventually recovered from my cold, and again we explored a lot more of the north and west coast of Mull, travelling through along the coastline up towards Calgary Bay. Again, another clear, calm day when we turned up, and I simply enjoyed watching the bird life along the shore. There wasn't too many shorebirds I saw on this trip, but I did really enjoy watching what I believe to be a young cormorant or a young shag that was feeding along the shoreline on the sandy beach. So that was really nice to see. And another bird species that I come to really enjoy seeing actually on Mull is the rock pipits. They are a small bird species, and they often hunt through the crevices of exposed rock from the tide going out, picking at different insects and possibly small crustaceans. And they can be quite curious. You know, a couple of them were hopping all around the rocks that I was sitting within. So yeah, a curious bird, and again, I came away with some shots I was really happy with. not only is the wildlife simply amazing here, the scenery around the whole of Mull is just wonderful any time of year. I can't recommend this place enough for anyone wanting to explore further up Scotland, or anyone wanting to come over to the British Isles. You know, it's a place I've come to love year on year from coming, and to just be right within the middle of nature, being surrounded by old forests and seeing a rocky shoreline. The waterfalls around here are simply amazing as well. We managed to stop off at one called AS Falls, which is on the northwest side of Mull. Stopped off there, and yeah, there were just moments where it was kind of like a meditation for me, just sitting, listening to nature's sounds all around you. So yeah, even just seeing nature, not just about going to see specific wildlife, you know, it's a tick off my list, and anything else is a bonus when coming here. So yeah, all in all, I really enjoyed my time here. As always, it's hard not to, even when it's been pouring with rain, or like today, the wind's picked up quite a bit. So walking along the coastline was pretty rough, but yeah, I simply love this place, and the wildlife, whether it comes or not, it's still a wonderful place to visit any time of year. The one mammal that I wasn't able to find on this trip was the otters. I have seen them on multiple occasions, times before. But this was one time where I just wasn't able to find them, whether I was just in the wrong place or they were hunting on a different area of shoreline that I wasn't at. But there's always next year. So I hope that you enjoyed this video and the clips and the photos that I've shared. I'll be posting them up on my Instagram and my Facebook accounts in the near future. If you like this video, either give it a thumbs up or leave a comment below. And I guess it's going to be next time where I'll be back at home within the fens, and yeah, just get back into doing what I love, being in nature and photographing it. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you all again very soon. Goodbye.